Okay, on today's video, I'm going to talk about how to use pictures of hot chicks or dudes, depending on who you're selling to be able to triple your PPC results that you're seeing on Google Ads or Facebook ads or any other place that you're running paid online advertising for your company to try to generate sales. So tripling your sales just by using a simple picture of a guy or a girl, basically, for the most part, we'll just say a good-looking guy or girl that fits the right demographic of who you're selling to take whatever you have now, or just to build a campaign from scratch and make it work a whole lot better, upwards of 3 times better, just with one simple photograph that you take that's just right, that you apply it to your advertising, to your ads, to your landing page. You'll get those kind of results. And I've seen those kind of results. I'm going to go through on this video today several examples of where I've actually used this, how you actually are going to implement this for your business the right way, give you just some different options, stuff to stay away from, pros, cons, all that stuff, and why you're actually going to be able to triple your results. All right, so let's get to it. So basically on my videos, I have a short list of things that I want to cover to be able to tell you how to use this strategy, why you want to use this strategy, so on and so forth. So starting out the video here, why hot chicks or dudes? And why now? So the first thing I just wanted to mention right off the top, and I know this stat gets thrown around a lot, but in case any of you guys still don't know it, first of all, 70% of all consumer spending now in the U.S. is women. And, that's just, the women are the ones that have time to make the purchase decision. They get the money from child support, whatever. I can see that as one contributing factor. It just makes sense, right? So what you need to be doing, and most people obviously are going to get this, but you got to be asking yourself and do some sort of an audit. When a family buys from you or when a business buys from you, is it mainly male or female who's actually making the purchase decision and actually ordering it? Not the person who decides, but the person ordering it is what this is all related to. And if you're selling to a guy, well, there's certain things that you should be thinking about selling to that guy. And the same thing if you're selling to a chick. And so, and all of this is kind of related to sexual appeal. Basically, sex sells. I mean, everybody's known this for a long time, but for the most part, given that the consumer spending has shifted so much, you can do yourself a big favor by having a picture of a young, handsome male or older, handsome male. If you are, your consumer base of who's ordering is 70% female as well. And actually with Google Ads, by the way, or any other advertising, there's a way to actually send, if you sell to both, you're saying, Corey, why would I have a guy when, there's other people, there's females I have to sell to too, and that wouldn't work. Well, you can actually have a different experience for male versus female, by the way, if it wasn't clear or didn't think of it, basically. And that's what I actually use on my campaigns to extract out the most revenue that I can. But along with this female thing, I just wanted to let you know, Jordan Peterson has some good material on this that I picked this actually up from initially, in that if you look at the magazine racks at like the grocery store or newsstand or whatever you want to call it, where you can buy magazines, look at all the covers of the magazines. Now these are the top headline copywriters in the world. Their job is to get people to pick that magazine off the shelf. If they can't, they get fired. The company goes under. The magazine goes under. And so through all this, basically billions of dollars of testing over the last decades, they figured out what most people are what's going to get their attention and sell magazines. And that is, no matter if it's a girl or a guy, is a sexy female there on the cover. That's what everybody's kind of figured out, so you can borrow from their research and know that out of everything they can show, that's the number one thing that gets people's attention. You can think of that magazine cover just like what your ad is. Your ad is, the first thing that the ad has to do is get someone's attention. And so they use the female for that. Then the copy that, or the words on the cover is what gets people then pulled in further. So you got to have good copy along with it. But the initial attention getter, which you must have, is the female. Obviously, if you're marketing to guys, guys are interested in things as well, as Jordan Peterson says. They could have guns or whatever. But by and large, you can't go wrong with the picture of a sexy young female in either case. And I won't go into all the reasons why females are going to be attracted to other young females. It's just kind of the way that it is, and I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, the first thing you should do is just profile your customers, people that are calling in if you aren't knowing it. What's your age demographic? What's your gender? Break it down to the top 3 or 4 brackets, like 45 to 55 male, then it's 45 to 55 female, so on and so forth. And then within that, you can start to do some research as to what most of the people, in terms of seeing another human being, would like to see. And also, by the way, the reason why, you're also another quick example here before I get into the strategy. On YouTube, you see people looking, they use obviously all the time pictures of hot chicks to get people, clickbait and stuff like that. But apart from that, there's actually a part of your brain that is dedicated basically to identifying and paying attention and noticing faces, human faces. So not only is having a picture of a young female's face gonna, has sex appeal, and it actually attracts both genders, but it actually, out of everything else, that's the most recognizable thing to the brain, given that there's already, and there specifically is one dedicated part of the brain that picks up human faces. So that's the other reason why this method, first of all, works, but why you should be thinking about, if when you're running banner ads, or if you have a Facebook newsfeed ad, start to be thinking, people, it's no secret that people work on those ads, but if you really want to pick up the really great results, go one step further and see who you're selling to, what they like to see for a human being there, and then spend some money to optimize that experience. So basically, though, why is it that this actually works so good, where you could actually triple the amount of money your PPC campaign can make if just by having one little photograph, and I really do just mean the one photograph, you get the right photograph, nail it right for the most part, assuming that you're selling to a wide group of male and female, and then with it could be a few photographs, but it's because higher click-through rates means less CPC, or cost per click, and more conversions. So what I mean by that, what I've done here is I've drawn out a diagram that spells out just exactly in terms of, in a numerical sense, why you're going to get a tripling of how much money you're making with this, on your ad. So most of the people, the YouTubers have got it figured out, the thumbnails. But people who run banner ads, they don't have it quite figured out yet. On Facebook somewhat, but definitely not on banner ads like you would see on CNN.com or wherever you see banner ads on any other sites, which is tied to, a lot of times, Google Display Network, which is a part of Google Ads. You take a regular old ad that doesn't have a picture of somebody on there, you add a picture of somebody, you can get a bump in CTR. You make sure that picture is optimized for, let's say sex appeal, and has the right age and the right gender, you're going to get a bunch more. The average person who runs banner ads will get less than 0.1%, or 1 in 1,000 people to click on that ad. And so people say, who cares? I only pay if somebody clicks on my ad. Well, if it was only that easy, I would just put on the ad. If you have $1 million and you're ready to buy right now, click on the ad, otherwise get lost. And then I'd be rich. But that's not how it works. How much you're paying for that ad click directly depends on the rate in which your ad gets clicked, or your click-through rate. Why? They call it pay-per-click advertising, which banner ads are part of that. But if your ad doesn't get clicked on very much, Google ultimately, or any of these other ad networks, Facebook, whatever, charges you more to compensate for your ad being bad. So basically, at the end of the day, they're charging you for 1,000 times that ad shows up, or 1,000 impressions. If you get 10 clicks, you get 10 clicks. If you get 1 click, you get 1 click. And you ultimately, if you get 1 click, you're paying $10 a click. If you get 10 clicks, you're paying $1 a click. And so it's all directly proportional. And so with that in mind, you want that ad to get people's attention at the highest possible rate you can, so that they'll read your headline, and hopefully if you got it targeted right, they'll click through and you'll get the maximum amount of attempts to get a sale as you can per the money you're putting in on those ads. If you have a 0.1% click-through rate on your ad, and let's say you had 1 lead or 1 sale that came from that on a regular basis, same money, you get 0.3% click-through rate or triple the click-through rate, you now have 3 sales or 3 leads. And that goes all the way up. I run banner ads routinely that can get a 1% click-through rate, which is, 10 to 20 times more than what the average person, the lazy man or woman who sets up a banner ad that doesn't really put any much thought in it, and definitely not thinking about things like sex appeal. So why can you triple the amount of money that you're making? Well, simple. You can take that 0.1 lousy, lackluster click-through rate, bump it up to a 0.3% just by using 1 good photograph, no problem. But along with that, I'll get into it in a moment, you can actually increase the close rates of any leads. If you generate leads from your campaigns now, you can increase the close rate on those leads by also using what I call like a follow-up strategy, where the person that they see on the ad, they can actually talk, or what sounds like that, talk to that person on the phone when they call. So a little bit of a gray area strategy, but if you're looking to make something out of nothing, and you're just not quite there in terms of the return, but you're close, that can be one way, depending on your volume, for you to dig your way out of it. Obviously it costs money to hire a specific person to answer, but if you're making more than $500 a day, I can assure you that that's something you should be looking at least. I'll explain why here. So anyway, I'm going to get into next here how to actually implement this strategy, and then give you examples of where I've used this strategy specifically in the past, so you can take the information I'm giving you here today and apply it to your business no matter what you're basically doing. Okay, since I can't give you an example for everything and every type of business, this will give you a wide swath of kind of what works and what has worked out there, and then you can decide which photograph you're going to use for your own needs. So the first thing, though, I want to say before I get into and show you the examples, talk about the stories of different times where I've used this and where it's tripled the results. There's stock images like on a Fotolia, iStock Photo, where you can buy photographs. Those sites are pretty much, no offense to the people, there's a time and a place for them, but those sites suck, basically. Everybody says, Corey, why do I need custom photography? I can get an image on these sites for $50 and I'm good. First of all, people keep using those photos over and over again of the same people, and I don't care if a person doesn't know, if your customer you think doesn't know what a stock photo is. They've seen that person on another site before, whether that they realize it or not, consciously or subconsciously. They're not going to trust you, and they're not going to click on your stuff, and it's actually going to work against you if they've seen it and they know they've seen it more than once. But in general, those people look so fake. They're not professional actors, and it just, generally speaking, it's just horrible. Along with that, you can hire a model relatively cheaply locally, and that's a kind of a fun thing to do. Put an ad on Craigslist, whatever, saying you're looking for a model, hire a model for a day, hire a photographer for a day, take the perfect photo for your ad that's in the perfect pose with the perfect expression. I love doing that stuff. That's what I'm doing if I'm spending more than $300 a day on the advertising already, because it just, why waste your money not focus in maxing out that ad if you're going to spend that much money on the ads to begin with. But someone does that, Very few people do this. So if you're in your space doing this, your ad's going to be way more attractive than anybody else's, because everyone else is just basically too cheap. They're going to use the stock image. But if you are going to do that, where I've seen people go wrong is it's not realistic either. So for instance, and you see it all the time with the stock image sites, but like they'll have an actor where they're working on a AC unit or something like that, and the clothes are all clean. You can't be taking shortcuts like that if you want this stuff to really work. If you're serious about making money with PPC, don't take shortcuts in general. But I just wanted to throw those quick things out there so that you understand a little bit about how to get pointed in the right direction. But anyway, as far as examples of where I've actually used this strategy before and the kind of results that I've gotten in the past, I'm going to go through a short list here. This is not everything, but it's a pretty good list of what I've done in the past. The first example I want to talk about here is model airplanes. So like RC equipment. So like model airplanes, where you got your controller and little, plane with the motor on it and stuff like that. Hobby shop, RC hobby shop, whatever. These are quote unquote geeks. And I apologize to anybody who does this. It's not geeky, but and it's going to be for an older demographic, and we figured that out. But what we did in this particular case is we had the ad and a picture of somebody not just, having the plane take off or whatever, which would be a typical in that type of situation. We had, a couple young girls, basically, wow, the guy was getting attention. That actually worked really well. So I call it onlookers, but this is the type of situation where there's by the way, in your hindbrain, which is the most powerful part of your brain, there's actually 3 things if you want to be able to sell something to somebody. This will go bypass any logical thinking of the user. People, when people think about things, initially first off, they think, can I eat this? Will it eat me? And can I screw it? Basically. And so if you could incorporate the last one that I just mentioned there in with your product, you're just automatically going to sell more. So how am I going to make, for guys, it's just how am I going to, if you could make me think that I'm going to use this product that's going to help me, spread my DNA, then you're going to sell more. And so if you have a picture of the person using your product, don't be cheap. Go out there and try testing. Just go out and do it. Getting a female onlooker for that particular product and being used in a lifestyle format, I can assure you that'll bump your numbers up. The next one is pet groomer. Now this was a real creative one. And this is a low budget one as well. So pet groomer. So it's a female pet groomer. We had the idea to have a male, since most of the buyers are female, to have a male, so this directly applies to the exact thing I wanted to talk about today, have a male in the ad. But what we were going to do, and so my thought is to take a sign, like a white sign, like you see this a lot of time on Fiverr.com if you go there, Fiverr.com, and we had a message written on the sign. So the sign, this guy smiling has the sign there. Now that also worked very, very well. And with the idea being that if you go to that pet groomer, that really hot, studly guy is going to be there at the pet groomer, grooming your pet. And these chicks want a chance to be able to talk to this guy. So it's kind of misleading in a way. But if we take a step further here, I got an arrow pointing back up here. There's a lot. You'd be surprised how much these pet groomers can make. They make a couple $1 million a year on a local, if you're in a high-end area of your city. Well, why pick anybody? Why pick your friend? Have this guy that you could, like I said, post an ad on Craigslist, get 100 guys to apply for a model shooting, and or it doesn't have to be a model. It just has to be a handsome guy needed for 2 hours for photo shoot. Pay $500. And then you can have that person, try the ad out first, see if it can actually triple your sales from what you have running already. If it can, you can upwards of double the close rate on the calls that are coming in on top of that if you have that person answering the phone and then just taking the orders. Why have a random, don't leave anything to chance in your business. You work hard for your money. Why leave these huge gaping holes in your sales process? Have the person take the dog, and obviously just as long as it's not a married guy, there's no problems. So anyway, that was an interesting situation where we tried that, and they actually took that the rest of the way, like what I was talking about. And so you can do the last part. At the very least, the ad is just so easy to do. That's what I would recommend at the very least. The third one is the disability tax credit. So in Canada, if you're disabled, there's a tax credit you can apply for, and there's specific companies out there that help people that are disabled apply for this tax credit. And the winning ad that just crushed everything else was a picture of the disability check. And I thought, how am I going to beat this ad? And so if we found, had an idea from Jeremy Shoemaker, had a check from Google Ads a long time ago. You can Google that if you want. But basically, the famous photo of him was the check, and then his face, nose kind of up over the check. And so we tried that pose with the check, and that actually beat the check by itself. You know, check proving that this is actual real money that you can get from the government is which is where the tax credit, you know, obviously comes from. That the CRA or Canada Revenue Agency. And but in that particular situation, so we tried it actually both ways. And this is back before I knew you wanted to actually pay extra for the handsome or beautiful lady. That if it's, targeting the male demographic, you want a beautiful lady there. And then and then vice versa for male, targeting, a female, then you want a handsome male there, and with obviously beautiful eyes in that case. But that's what worked there. So just another kind of thing, a way to do it. So you can have a model, you can have a spokesperson now, as you know, you can have onlookers. And then I'm going to get into the next one, a car show. There's actual, people placement, I guess, is the best way I can describe this. So at a car show, if you've ever been, I'm a big fan of going to car shows. At car shows, there's Jackson and Barrett is the one. They have sometimes not so much on theirs, but a lot of different ones, I should say, that they have the models inside, or car models. There's also a lot of times at these car shows, car models at the gate. So in this particular situation where, if I'm thinking of going to the car show and you're going to ask me if I'm going to buy tickets in advance, if you could show me an ad, as per I thought when I helped this particular client, and I already had it in the back of my mind before. I even worked for a company that, had a car show basically and was trying to sell tickets. That in the very front, it had a couple, I don't know what you call them exactly, welcome models. So like a couple girls in front, to welcome all the guests that are coming there, taking a photo of them and then showing you basically this is what you get. And this is just getting started when you walk into the place. Put that picture of the two chicks there on the ad. And I haven't talked about it already, but this applies to any landing page stuff. If your banner ad has a picture of two chicks on the landing page, you're going to want the full-size picture of the two chicks. And that goes for all the rest of these, as I mentioned. So people know when they get to the landing page, you bait and switch them, even though they should know that. You don't want to leave any questions in the minds of the users to get the highest conversion rate possible that you can from that traffic. So we tried that, and obviously it worked very well. A car versus a chick with the car versus the two chicks there, and then the backdrop being a bunch of cars in the background. That one worked the best, as you could probably imagine just thinking about it. But in that particular situation as well, going one step further again, I suggested, I always give extra free information to our clients. PPC clients, if it gets out, stuff about sales, because I know about all this stuff. Businesses that I ran, I had picked this stuff up. But having a chick that sounds hot, let's just say that, sounds hot, to answer the phone when somebody calls and has questions about the tickets, gets, upwards of 2x difference in the close rate and whether or not that ticket gets actually bought, versus some old guy, like old, car buff, so people think with their, their lower head too much. I'm a guy, I understand. But, that's just another example where you could take this another step further and example where it could be used. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention here on this video is about the colleges / conferences. And this is also like I forgot what I called it, lifestyle photo. So you'll notice, and you'll know I'm right, if you look at other colleges and other like conferences, the colleges, what you want to have, the ad that beats all ads is the classroom where you're zooming into a really hot chick, or, it actually works the other way. Chicks are, despite what you think, they're, like I said, just look at the magazines, but specifically showing a guy to a good-looking, handsome guy to a girl works very well. So you have a picture of the class, and then you zoom in or crop out to like a couple of the hottest chicks in the room, and you put that on the ad and you put that on the landing page. That works tons better than showing some random. Nobody cares about seeing the couple people working on doing tests, CPR, or listening to a lecturer at the class. But if they want to see, am I going to be able to find somebody to mate with at this college? And that's just, I'm sorry, it's just the way that it is. You want the free money or you not? But again, the same. For the hot chicks work on the guy traffic more than the hot guy works on the chick traffic. By the way, so again, you can split it up. Chick traffic will see an ad with a guy. That's definitely still what you want to do. And then the guy traffic can see the chicks, and you split it up like that. It's just done. You'll have to have one ad for each and then one campaign for each to separate it out. And then conferences, though, are the same thing. All these guys, if you really want to get the money to spend $600, $700, $800 on a ticket, make them think there's going to be hot chicks there. I promise you the sales will come flooding in. So that one I actually have not got into doing too much. I just noticed it a lot. It's kind of, I never got the green light to do it yet. I want to do it, and I know that it works. I just thought I'd also bring that one up. I mean, if you want to know it works, just look at all the ads that you can find. If you're in a big money niche, that is, or a wide niche, just see what other people got, and then you can kind of see what works. But I just know from these other experiences here that if I can be allowed to do this, that's what we're going to do. Okay? So anyway, that sums up the hot chick / hot dude, triple your PPC results guaranteed methodology to increase your click-through rate. You'll increase your conversion rate by having the hot dude or chick on the landing page, which I didn't talk about. That's also going to come into play. And if you have that, what seems like that person will be on the other side of the phone, you're generating leads, you'll increase your results even more. So there's a lot of results to be had here. All it takes is line up a single day to get yourself a model, get yourself a not good photographer, spend $1,000 to get that one really nailed photograph, or 2 or 3. I promise you, you will not be sorry. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I have a lot of other videos like this on this channel about different PPC strategies, money-making PPC strategies. If you like what you've seen here, you should check my other videos out. Apart from that, I have a personal money-making PPC strategies blog that I've written at guaranteedppc.com/blog if you prefer to have step-by-step instruction on how to build money-making PPC campaigns that work. Also, beyond that, if you have any questions about this particular strategy or anything that you think I should have covered and didn't, leave me a comment down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel. Apart from that, I hope this got your mind stimulated a little bit, and and excited about taking advantage of some of this free money that's available out there that basically virtually nobody's doing because it just isn't talked about very much yet. And clearly you can see the ideas make sense and that, you know, can work and does work when applied to a PPC campaign that's out there ready for you to use today. Hope you enjoyed.